success from what I know as well.
Yeah, it definitely. I think so.
Bikaner House was a success. Sorry for the disruption. Yeah, so Bikaner House was a success.
Yeah.
But,
It was a very humbling experience because you see when you're that early on in your journey, I'm talking a few years ago, it's very humbling to get the right encouragement from the right place. Otherwise, either it can like push you
break you
forward
or,
or
yeah,
yeah, exactly, like
make you or break you.
yeah, it can. So I was very lucky to have that encouragement coming in because my biggest tool for me was social media. I leveraged Instagram, like
Everything.
posting and talking about my work, and that turned out.
Wonders
I
turn out to
think
be
it
wonders.
turned it turned
But
out
yeah,
so.
because I can't even imagine, I mean, because we do a lot of exhibitions, and having a solo exhibition is big.
It's a lot of work. I'm
The
working on one
audios,
right
yeah,
now, and I know what's it doing.
the one in September.
Yes, it's a lot of work, and in the middle I have two more in London. So it's it's the best kind of pressure that you can have because at the end of the day, it's your work that's going out. It's your name that's going out, which is great. Like I mean, I love it. There's no complaints at
The
all.
attention, you love the
No,
attention.
I just love doing it. And I mean, the attention, yes, it's a byproduct of the work.
But that's what exhibitions are for. I think exhibitions in India, one good thing about exhibitions in India, that over here people are pretty blunt as compared to, I think I've seen this as compared to the West. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
People will give their 2 cents, and especially Indian uncle aunties. They will come and say the most horrid things possible about any artwork, and the fact being, you can't even argue with them because at the end of the day, on one end, you're trying to tell them that art is subjective,
Yeah.
and when they are giving their 2 cents and saying absurdly insane things about artworks, you can't argue with them.
Yeah.
So I think you must have gone through something of that as well.
Yeah.
How do you think Niyamat Mehta became Niyamat Mehta?
Oh.
Or what is her identity when we talk about in the art world?
I
Too
mean,
deep a question?
yeah, it's quite deep. I didn't think that was coming, frankly. But I
Yeah.
think it just, I want to, I don't want to shy away from saying it obviously took a lot of work.
Of course. Okay, now this is
And
a bookish answer. Now let's cut
I mean,
the.
it took a lot of work, and I wasn't, I think it,
No,
what really
bluntly.
helped, yeah, I
Treat
know.
this as a rapid fire
I
question.
know.
Why would I buy a Niyamat Mehta?
What really helped me is I started exhibiting really young,
Yeah.
right? And I think I started putting my work out there
Out
really
there.
young, and whether it was through like online exhibitions on Instagram, like those even an exhibition where you have to pay 2,000 rupees to like get in, and like smaller exhibitions to actually make it to a solo, and then you feel confident actually talking. When you feel confident talking to people about your work, is I think is a point where like, okay, this is who I am as an artist, and this is how I explain my work, because I think talking about artwork is an art in itself. And
And I think one good thing.
which takes time,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, you can have the most beautiful painting in your gallery and not being able to talk about it's not going to sell.
That's not awesome.
you know?
And one thing I think I would like to add is one good thing about you, knowing you, is that you take a lot of constructive criticism very confidently. I think, and you add that feedback into your work. So I think that's also helped you.
Yeah.
But again, you didn't answer my question. Why a Niyamat Mehta and not a Om Swami or a Mosmi Biswas or an
I
XYZ?
can't compare myself to anyone.
No, I mean-
but I'll tell you, like, I think it's also to do with the journey, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think when you're buying an artist's work, it depends on the journey. And luckily, like, I went to a really good art school, which trained me well. Then
The youngest kid to get into Florence Academy of Art.
that was that. Then I worked in artist studios. I didn't settle into a routine directly. I was working in a very senior artist studio right after finished training. After that, I was like, okay, I want to explore the contemporary art scene. So I was working at Sotheby's and also like doing a course
Wow.
there, and then also teaching at the London Fine Arts Studio.
Yes.
So all these things like really, I think, had a very big impact on my work. Like this portrait that you're seeing here is done just a few months ago. I don't think I would have done this 5 years ago, or say 3 years ago, even 2 years ago. I don't think this would be done, because the style is different. Like, yes, the technique is very classical. It's something that I was taught, but at the same time, I don't think it's something that I would do with, funky colors, rough surfaces,
Yeah.
very raw looking artwork. Say when like say 3-4 years ago, I don't think that was happening. I was in a very different headspace as well. Like I was like, okay, every sculpture should look like picture perfect, which as it should. But picture
I
perfect,
don't think so. I differ. Yeah.
yeah, picture perfect means different for everyone. Like for me, okay, like this is cool, but for somebody else it'd be like, oh, but it could be like smoother,
Yeah.
which is fine. I mean, each to their own. Like you said, it's subjective.
It's objective.
Somebody may like it, somebody may not, and we respect everyone's decision. It's okay.
We have
Right.
no choice but to accept everyone's
Yeah,
decision.
that's
That is
okay.
the harsh reality as well. But yeah, fair enough. I mean, Niyamat Mehta is Niyamat Mehta. Talking about Niyamat Mehta as well, do you find a sense of contentment in today's time, Niyamat? I, as a person, can never be content, and I'm pretty sure you're not, but still.
I mean, I feel like I'm also a person who wants to keep pushing forward. Um, One thing one of my mentors had told me when I was training is like, a sculpture is never finished.
Wow.
And that's something that really hit me, when a 20-year-old kid hears that.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, like that, because you keep thinking, okay, because you have deadlines to meet, and you're working on a sculpture for like 6 weeks or 5 weeks or whatever, or 10 weeks even, and you've been told this, the sculpture is never complete. So now that you're working as a full-fledged artist, you're like, okay, it's actually never complete, because I could be working on this for 10 years and not be bored.
Wow. But yeah, this
I
is
don't
so
think,
true.
I mean, see, contentment is something that comes with time, and also, like I said, I feel like it's not healthy to be satisfied.
I agree.
I
So,
mean, you can be like, okay, I'm good to go, but I don't think it's healthy to be satisfied, because I think once you hit that point, it's like, okay, how are you going to grow?
to be honest, I don't think why contentment as a terminology is such a positive term. I mean, I'm being very honest. I'm not kidding. Because I think I wouldn't want to even socialize with a content person. I'm being very honest.
Wow, okay.
Because I think, I mean, especially when it comes to work.
Yeah.
Because I think career, when you know that, oh, you've done your bit and you don't want to add more to the society, okay, forget society, to yourself, and you don't want to add more to yourself, I think you're dead, you're brain dead.
Of course.
I mean, as bluntly putting it, I think you're brain dead.
Yeah.
And after that, nothing that comes your way will appeal. So I think
Yeah.
contentment should never happen at such an early age, of course, as you said.
Yeah, like you're always pushing forward, right? Like you're hopping, you're trying to get your work into like the best galleries, trying to get your work onto the best, I don't know what best, but like to good art collectors,
Yeah.
and like trying to really push forward out there. And it's a hustle, and which you do very humbly and very
Humbly.
gracefully, because I think one thing in as a young artist, or I think anyone young for that matter, should be open to is a lot of rejection.
Yes.
I'm sure you face that as a gallerist as well, because you're trying to pitch in an artwork to 10 people and they all 10 say no,
Yeah, yeah.
and that happens. I mean, you show an artwork to 10 galleries and we don't need artists right now, which is, it's part of life, and I think it happens. But at the same time, I don't think I think you can be unhappy for like 4 hours and then bounce back up.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to end this on this note that, yeah, contentment is something which is, again, to each its own. Everyone has their own phases of being content, but as you said, keep pushing yourself. Like, I would want to see Niyamat Mehta at a certain stage after 10-15 donkey years. Because, me as a gallerist has seen a lot of artists, I don't want to name them again, after certain years of, being on Cloud9, they've not been working now.
Yeah.
And now, if you talk about those artists, when someone comes to me and asks about those artists as well, even I, as a gallerist, doesn't want to sell their works. I'm like, that guy has no vision.
I think for me, it's like, when when a gallerist, because now I'm working with so many galleries, even the ones overseas or even like here, this almost like selling your energy, And this sounds really funny, but it's so relatable to me as an artist. Like you have spent like hours and hours working on the same artwork.
Yeah.
It does have some element of you in it.
Yeah. I
It's
mean,
like,
yeah.
when you're in high school, a teacher can instantly recognize your
Recognize.
handwriting.
Yeah.
I don't think the art world's any different.
I
Like,
don't think
that's
I
how.
do, yeah.
What?
I
Like,
don't want to give gallerists the credit. I mean, because I am one. But yes, I
yeah,
know
but
where you're
like, I
coming from.
mean, it's in a way like you know when you walk, when you see a Raza, you know it's a Raza, or when you see a Mark Rothko, you know it's a Rothko, right? The
And when
same
you
way
see a
it's,
Niyamat, you know it's a Niyamat. Yeah.
yeah, like,
Marketing, guys, marketing.
so like, and I think every artist has their own language and everybody's expressing themselves in like very different ways, but it's the same story.
True. Do you have your journey planned now? I mean, moving to the last segment of our podcast, do you think you have your journey planned?
I don't think it's planned, but I
Or do you
like,
have a vision? I mean,
I obviously the vision is to keep growing,
wow,
right?
okay.
Like that's the vision, and to keep growing, and like I said, like getting my work onto the hands of like good people, doing more and more exhibitions. Now the buy is coming.
Hopefully, yeah,
Yeah, like like things like this, and just growing. That's the
yeah.
vision, and once there's a break in the vision, then okay, like this is working.
There are phases, Niyamat. I think
Yeah.
there are phases in everyone's life, even a gallerist's life.
Yeah.
I think from what I can suggest is forget fame, forget anything, forget
Yeah.
everything. As you said, just keep
Keep doing,
working.
yeah, just keep doing it, and like at the end of the day, like you like what you do, so it's
You like
fine.
what you do. And the thing is, when you have a stock of 40, 50, 100, 200 odd pieces, that's the time when you actually sell.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. And this is
Yeah.
out of experience I'm talking about. I mean, in today's time, I would obviously want to go to an artist or a sculptor who has stock of his work.
Yeah.
And they have stock because every day, day and night, they've only been working, working, working,
Yeah.
working. And then you choose out of that pool, of course.
Yeah.
So my suggestion to you is just keep on making,
Of course.
have stock, and then hopefully, I mean, forget Anya. I think there will be more galleries around the world who would
No,
possibly
now you
collecting.
only do Anya.
No, of course. Anya is a big brand name, guys. I mean, not a joke. What is the biggest misunderstanding people have about being a sculptor?
I think people think it's very like muscle oriented, and I think everybody who thinks of a sculptor, they normally think of a hammer and a chisel, which is not entirely true.
Yeah,
I think that's the
I kind of agree with
right.
you,
Like,
yeah.
and also people who don't know, like they think it's very very male dominant profession,
yeah.
whereas it's really not. Like we've got even in art history, right? Like I think one of my favorite sculptors, she is Camille Claudel, and she's from Paris, and
Of
she
course,
has
I
a
mean-
museum named after her in
Yeah.
Paris. Yeah, and in India we got Bharti Kid.
Bharti, Mosmi Biswa. I mean, young ones
Exactly.
also I'm talking about. So yeah, I think
There's so many. And
I hate when gender comes into art. Like, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we've had clients as well who say, "Acha, ladki ne banaya" versus "ladke ne banaya."
it doesn't
Well,
matter.
irrelevant. I mean,
Yeah,
me
it
being me,
doesn't
I think
matter.
it's absurd,
Yeah.
and not because she's I'm saying that it's absurd. Have you ever started a piece and just couldn't finish it? You were just like, forget it, man. Not my cup
I've
of tea.
not finished it. I probably have left it for like a week, 10 days, 15, 20 days, whatever, and then gotten back to it. Because I think sometimes what happens is that when you're working on something for so long, you actually need a fresh eye.
Yeah.
So then you just start doing something else. Like you start like working on a different sculpture.
Yeah,
or
that's
like
fair.
just
That
like
happens.
not going into the studio for like a few days or something. Like, and that's normal, and that happens.
Yeah, that's
It's
I think
totally
normal.
fine.
You need to take a breather. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the hardest part about turning something deeply personal into something public?
I think there's a way to do it. That's one. And how you express it in bronze or like tangible materials is the way to go.
Would you want to share a personal story which you must have inculcated in your one of your sculptures? Anything personal?
Yeah, I mean, I had a sculpture called Nicole. So we had 3 editions, all 3 went. I didn't even do more after that.
Wow. Okay.
So they went to like, because they went to like really good places and private collections and stuff. So I was like really humbled by that.
Okay.
How that sculpture started was I met Nicole in Florence because she was a ballet dancer.
Okay.
And obviously, like, when you're there, you love like going for these culturally rich evenings with your
Events,
friends
yeah,
and all
yeah.
that stuff. And it's part of your learning.
Yeah.
And even now, like, I mean, you have such beautiful plays playing at Kamani Auditorium here
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
Like, it's so nice to see. It's culture, right? She was performing one of the evenings, and I was like, I have to go tell her that it was like the stage was on fire. Like, she really, really nailed it that evening. I had no idea who she was. But I went up to her after the performance and said, listen, like, it was fantastic, but would you mind coming to my studio and pose for me? And she didn't really understand what I said, because I don't think she'd never done it before. And she was obviously like a lot older to me, right? She was like 10, 12 years
Oh,
older to me. So,
wow.
but I said, no, like, you should come and it will make you like really comfortable and all that stuff. So that turned out to be really nice. So, like, I made a portrait of her, and then that portrait became a part of the Meraki collection.
I think I've seen this on Instagram.
You definitely
Yeah.
have. So, yeah, this was one of them. And the other one was this sculpture called Emmanuel, which was, again, he was an actor, and we'd gone for this theater play in Florence again. And he was acting really nicely.
Wow.
And I, again, like, went up to him and told him, like, you please come and pose for me, because I really want to do a portrait of you. And he was really sweet about it. He's like, yeah, sure, I'll come. So we did that, and it turned out well, because I think a portrait is obviously, like, you see, when you're working, the two ways to think of portraiture. There's one, okay, you want to capture somebody, and there's one, like, you want to show your imagination and express your imagination
Through that.
through
Yeah.
portraiture. So this is the imagination part, but those are actually real people.
Real people.
Yeah. So that's why even back in the day, when photographs didn't exist, it was painting portraits of important people, or like sculpting them, or like stuff like that. So I think that's.
But I read this somewhere as well. So I mean, when you read about art, so even portraits. So for example, you see me, and if you end up making a painting or a sculpture of me, you will always make a portrait or a sculpture of a version you see of me.
Like, the thing is, you see, that's exactly my point. Like,
And this is how human
I can
psychology
be
works.
as trained as I like, but there will always be a part of me in that artwork.
That's
And that's where Meraki comes into play. It's a beautiful concept. I mean, read a lot about it. So that's where, I mean, I see you visually and I see how you look.
Yeah.
But when I'm sculpting you, even if you're sitting in front of me, is probably not. I mean, it will be A to A, because again, your eye is trained now. You're trained to do it, but there will be a difference between somebody else doing the same thing who's probably trained at the same school. The sculpture won't look the same.
Yeah, that's of course true.
Right, like, it won't look the same, and I think that's something that's so
the most
personal.
beautiful part about
And that's something so personal.
Yeah, that is something personal.
Yeah.
Wow, dude, well, that's deep. That's really deep. I've asked you this question. I mean, of course, there are moments when you doubt yourself. What do you do? And again, please don't give me a bookish answer.
No bookish answers. I think you turn to people who push you forward.
A+, yeah.
I think that's when. I mean, it's very normal to go through that. I mean, if you feel like your artwork is not looking a certain way, or your like some show or whatever, like, everyone has that, and I think you turn to people who will push you forward.
Who's the first person you'd call?
I mean, my parents, my aunt, my brother, my closest friends, like, stuff like people like that, and then comes Jason and my
of course,
mentors.
I mean, but like one day you're sitting at the studio and you're like, fuck yeah, this didn't end up working out. So I mean, your mom would be the first one to call.
Well, if it's studio crisis, then it'll be like someone like, in the art world. So it'll be like someone like Jason or Poppy or anyone. Like, I really, really admire their work. And
what's the best advice you've got from them?
Sculpt like every day is your lost.
Sorry?
Sculpt like every day is your lost.
Wow, this is going to be written in a book, guys. Sculpt like every day is your last. Yeah, that's cute.
Cute.
Yeah, that's cute. Sculpt like every day is I think only artists can relate to such a statement as well.
I mean, the thing is, it takes energy. It's like very practically.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm not exaggerating.
No, I mean,
so I'm being very.
It
like,
does. I'm
yeah,
an artist myself. I know.
Exactly. Like, I mean, you're a singer. I know.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of energy, and it takes a lot of thinking to get your thoughts into tangible materials, right? So if something is not going from A to B the way you want it, like it can fluster you sometimes, which is normal. It's fine. It's part of the process. It's totally normal. But at the same time, I think you should have people around you, whether they are here,
Always.
yeah, whether they're on the phone or whether they are here in person, or either way, like who you can turn to during that time. And I think it's very important for anyone to have that, whether the people in the art world or whether it's your friends or family or whoever. But I think it's really important, because I would think if I didn't have my art ecosystem that I have today, I don't think I would be where I am at all.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
I mean, now you're part of the ecosystem. So.
No choice, but I love it, guys. I truly love it. I love the entire
No,
process.
I meant like now you're part of my ecosystem.
Oh, yeah. I think now I'll be getting more calls.
Yeah.
Armin, what should I do?
Yeah.
I'm fine with it. Okay. Of course, you're going to come to the rapid fire, which is after this last question. I've asked you this, but what does the definition of success mean to you?
Freedom.
Wow. Okay. Anything else?
I think success in today's date. I mean, yeah, like you see, monetarily it matters.
Of course, a sale.
But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, for me, it's like, okay, freedom. That's what success
True.
is. Like, can I take 10 days off my work? Can I go for a week here and there and then come back? Is that freedom? And at the same time, my work has to be going in a certain direction, otherwise it's random. But
Agreed.
you
yeah.
see, like, it has to be going in a certain way and then give you freedom as well. And I think that's
Totally. And I think
Yeah.
that's very well put. I think freedom is what we as humans thrive for.
Yeah,
And this is the
definitely.
first thing which we thrive for. So, yeah, well said. So, guys, yes, now we're going to come to our fun element of the rapid fire session with Niyamat Mehta. So, Niyamat, to lighten the mood, we've had great, deep conversations, I think.
Yeah.
So deep that I'm doubting myself now. I mean,
Oh
what am I
God,
doing
no,
with my
no, you
life
shouldn't.
looking
You're
at this
very
culture?
talented. Look what you're doing.
No, I'm the
You're on
guy.
the other side of the spectrum. You shouldn't doubt yourself.
Yeah,
like
I
that.
mean, this is banter. I am selling your work at the end of the day, and I think that is another process. Someone should do a podcast with me as well about how I end up selling
maybe I'll
artworks.
sit there next time you sit here.
No, but I think it's beautiful. I think if you ask my opinion about how my day-to-day life is with artists, and you know, the best part about artists is that they are not diplomatic or hypocrites. They speak out of their heart.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I think the show, I'm not even bragging or making this up. That's why I call this the Heartful Show, because every artist, and I'm not talking about you, I'm not talking about me, pick out every artist and have a nice, normal conversation with him. He will be so humble, he will be so blunt and candid with you, which is the most beautiful part.
Yeah.
Unless you have a conversation with any other human on this planet, they will always have a filtered.
Yeah.
And it's very unfiltered with artists. That's what I
Yeah.
truly feel. So that's my day-to-day, like unfiltered conversation and unfiltered
Yeah.
sale processes.
Yeah.
So yeah, coming down to the rapid fire, which is our heartful element. Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Fiber versus bronze.
Bronze.
Classic or dreamy like?
Classic or
Dream-like. I mean, dreamy.
classic?
One sculptor you'd love to have chai with?
Rodin.
Of course. If not sculpture, then?
That's nothing. No, dude.
Ah, come on, yeah. You paint well.
Draw.
Yeah, paint, draw, yeah. Sorry.
I could not paint to save my life, but
You know, I think in our podcast, I'm also going to post a picture of the horse which you showed me the other day. I have that picture. That picture you should definitely see, or for drawing. Yeah, but come
probably
back to the
like
question.
draftsmanship, like like crafting, drawing, stuff like that.
Fair enough.
sketching.
Not business.
I mean, yeah, that turns into a business eventually.
No, I
like-
mean business. I'm talking about real upfront business. Your family business. Rome mornings or Delhi nights?
Rome mornings.
Of course. Beethoven or silence?
Beethoven.
Why?
I think I really relate to the music, and when I'm working to it, I think it just helps me like focus more. And
Do you listen to music while sculpting?
absolutely, I have an entire playlist. I'll share it with you.
Oh wow, I would love to hear that.
Yeah.
Most underrated sculptor or sculpture?
I feel like to some extent, I don't remember the name of the artwork, I'll be honest here, but I feel like to some extent Camille Claudel is
Yeah.
not given enough credit in the art world. I mean, she has been given credit, but I feel like also because the time she was living, she was the only female sculptor. And I feel like she as an artist is not credited enough as the rest. So I think
How do you think you would change that?
I would like, if I was living in that time, I was like,
yeah, we're talking about donkey years back.
yeah, like I would focus on her work more. I would like get her work out to exhibitions. If I was like a gallerist on the other side of the spectrum, you know, get her work out there, send people to her studio, like all that stuff. And yeah,
A sculpture of your life, what would it look like?
calm and chaos.
Calm, yes, I would definitely.
Calm and chaos.
Chaos as well. Why do you say so?
I mean, like chaos in a good way.
Good
chaos.
way, yeah, of
like,
course.
you know, I mean, it can't just be like,
You're a workaholic, so I think chaos in that
I'm
manner.
not a workaholic.
No, you're always at your studio from what I've seen as well. Like I mean, as in you're always working or you have that element of work. I mean, that's
I mean,
good.
when you're in a space and you have like really nice music playing throughout the day, you have like cool people coming to see you, you have people
Dreamy.
coming to like, yeah, see your work, and then
Yeah,
you're
that's
talking
dreamy.
about it. Like, why on earth would I go anywhere else? Like, it's very well equipped.
Yeah, I mean, that's dreamy. When I'm in my studios, I mean, when I make music, I
Yeah.
spend hours
Yeah,
anyway.
exactly.
Okay. Would you sell, if you had an option, would you sell your sculptures by yourself or through a gallerist?
The gallerist.
Why?
I think because they have a clientele that they have developed over
Yeah,
X
of
number
course.
of years. So, for example, even for me to be working with Arashi Arts, she's been in the art scene for 25, 30
20,
years.
30 years.
And she has that 25, 30-year-old clientele versus she had it since, that's as old as I am. So, let's not even, see, you can make private sales if they happen, they happen, but mostly through I don't think it's conducive, and I don't think it's steady, frankly.
But do you think the art industry or the art scene, when it comes to artists with the gallerists, is it an abused culture here?
I don't think so much, because I hear this a lot, but
I want you to break the ice because a
yeah.
lot of people I also hear as a gallerist ke artists are abused.
But then it also really depends on two things, right? Like, firstly, I think it depends on your relationship with the gallerist.
Fair enough.
That you have. And I think that should be fantastic. And it should be a really nice, healthy relationship that you have with him or her. That's the first. And the second thing is that, see, a gallerist is taking a cut from the sale, which is totally fair. They're spending months and months trying to get your name out there. It's costing them money. They're selling your work, it's costing them space, they're doing shows for you, it doesn't happen
It's a
like
different
that.
business model, yeah.
I mean, not just business model, it's someone else's time. It's like today, somebody asking me to make a sculpture for free, like, why would I do it?
Yeah, of course. Have you made a sculpture for free?
No.
I want one. No, but yeah.
Yeah, why would I? It's like that.
No, fair enough. And I think that's wonderfully put. I think it's a very subjective thing. People, ये तो हमेशा हम कहते हैं लोग तो कुछ कहेंगे. People will always have something to say. But as long as the artists are happy, we gallerists are happy, I think I'm happy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's a wonderful way to end the entire show as well. So yeah, last question, Nemat. What is the definition of heartful for you?
Heartful for me means like fulfillment, I guess.
Okay.
I think so. I mean, and fulfillment comes from like obviously getting your work into the good homes or good hands of people, but also at the end of the day, knowing that your sculpture was better than the first.
That should always be the case. I love
like
how you said
making
that.
progress
Yeah.
every single day, and I think that's something we as artists go for. Because the moment you stop making progress is when you have to start questioning, like, listen, what's going on? Like, and that's serious questioning for yourself, because nobody
Yeah.
can answer those for you.